We're back in this greenhouse today. We was in here last week planting a few bits and bobs out, but now we're approaching mid-May. I'd like to get the greenhouses filled up with as much stuff as I can. So what we're going to do today is we're going to concentrate on this side, because there's nothing in this side of the greenhouse at the moment. So we're going to give it a bit of a dig over, and then we're going to put in some of these. These are Gardener's Delight tomato plants. So we're going to get these put in at the correct spacing, and then we'll see what else we can plant, maybe in between or in front. But before we do any of that, we need to dig it over. Now we'll give it a bit of a rake. Now I'm going to add a little bit of fish blood and bone. Well, that didn't take too long. Looks a lot better. We've got all weeds out and added a bit of fertiliser, so we can now start getting his tomato plants put in. Now we can get his first tomato plant in. And we want to plant it away from the edge of the greenhouse, just to make sure there's enough room for the branches to go outward. So we'll go about central and dig a nice deep hole. Then we can just take out his little tomato plant and pop it in. Then fill back in around it. Make sure you press it down as well so it's nice and stable. And you can bury these tomato plants to the same depth as they were originally. But if you have any that seem to have grown quite long, what you want to do is bury them to about there, because that stem is covered in little hairs, and those hairs will turn into roots if they're buried under soil, and then your tomato plant won't be tall and spindly, it'll be a lot stronger, and the stem will get thicker as it grows. So when you're spacing any tomato plant, you want to make sure that they're no less than 18 inches apart, because the plants can grow quite wide. So a bare minimum would be that 18 inches at least. And then we'll go in with his next tomato plant and firming around as well. And then on to the next one. So quick and easy, we've got those 3 plants in, and they're all at the recommended spacing as well. So I'm just going to pop in a couple more to finish this off, and then we'll move on to something else. So now we just need to water them in. And when you water your tomato plants, always water around the base. Give it a really good watering like that, but never water on the leaves, else that's going to cause more problems. So we've got all these plants in now, and now we're going to be planting something at the base of these tomato plants. But when you do interplant different varieties, just make sure that they are good companion plants, because if they're not, they're going to be detrimental to the growth of both varieties. One of the best things to grow below your tomato plants is basil, because basil will repel certain insects with its scent, and it also will help flavour your tomatoes once they're ripe. You can also plant lettuce as well, because lettuce won't cause any problem to your tomato plants. Also, you can plant things like chives, parsley, onions, garlic, squash and carrots. So all these are perfectly fine to be planted alongside your tomato plants. But there is a few that you want to definitely avoid, especially members of the nightshade family, which is things like peppers and potatoes, because the problem with that is members of the nightshade family share the same problems, such as early blight and late blight, and once one gets it, it can easily spread to another variety if it's in the same area. So anything in the nightshade family, don't plant them together. Also, avoid planting them near brassicas, because they'll also be detrimental to your tomato plant's growth. So what I'm going to do a row of carrots the full length of this greenhouse and see how they get on. And if we decide we don't want to thin them out as they start growing, we can leave them and then harvest them all together as baby carrots. If you want to get big carrots, then obviously as they start growing, you'll need to go down and pick out every other one and leave about an inch space between each plant. And of course I am going to direct sow some basil as well, just in front of these plants. I'm just going to use a piece of wood and make what's known as a drill behind these tomato plants, and then we'll just direct sow the carrot seeds. Quick and easy, we're just going to keep it a good few inches away from your tomato plants as well, otherwise your carrots won't grow to the full potential. So quick and easy, we're just going to use this piece of wood and press it down just to make a bit of a drill. And then we can just rub finger and thumb and let a few seeds drop. And you want to sow these as thinly as you can. As I say, you can always thin these out at a later date. And once you've done that, it's just a case of lightly covering them over. So we've got those carrots sown. Now we're going to pop some of these lettuce in. Really good established plants these are, and these are called oak leaf lettuce, and it's a really tasty variety. So let's get a few of these in as well. I'm just going to go in and make a nice deep hole for these plants. So we want to bury them quite deep so they're a more stable plant as they grow. And we'll just go in between the tomato plants. So we'll just pop one of these out, and you can see that's a really healthy looking lettuce plant. So we'll just pop that in like that and firm it in. And once I firm them down, I like to remove some of the compost from the edge. So I don't want those leaves sitting on damp compost. Push it in, firm it down, and then I'll just make a hollow. That's a pretty good size one. We'll go in again, get this firmed in, keep it as upright as we can. And so far we've got this. We've got a row of carrots at the back of the greenhouse. We've got 5 Gardener's Delight tomato plants, and then we've put in these oak leaf lettuce at the front. Now all that bit's done, we just need to add a bit of basil as well. And for this basil, I'm basically just going to make a little hole and multi-sow some seeds, because I'm hoping for it to come up in a big bunch. So I'm going to go just there. I'm just going to drop in 6 or 7 seeds and then lightly cover them. Basil seeds are quite tiny, so you don't want to bury them too deep. And now we'll just get everything watered in. We've got the carrots across that back there. Make sure you don't let your carrots dry out, or else the seeds won't germinate.
and again just around the base of these lettuce. Never water directly on the leaves of any of your lettuces or it will just squash them flat to the ground.
So now we've got a really good mixture of plants in this greenhouse. We've now got that greenhouse fully planted up for the season, and we've got a really big variety of different vegetables in there, which is perfectly fine to do, just so long as you know that they are companion plants and one is not going to be a deficit to the other. Then not only will everything grow happily together, one thing will also benefit another. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video, and if you want to see what else we do during the year, just hit that subscribe button and press that notifications bell, and we'll see you on that next video. You all take care.